Welcome to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judaic Congregation in Los Angeles. Here is Assistant Rabbi David Stein.
We started last night talking about the laws of Ben Sorero Moret, rebellious child, and so we'll spend a little bit more time talking about it tonight. Last night we kind of dealt with the moral question: how could you put to death a child, who just for not listening to his parents? And tonight I want to kind of deal with a conceptual issue, kind of two different conceptual approaches to understanding what's going on with a Ben Sorero Moret. And to lay them out, the fundamental question I want to ask is, what did a Ben Sorero Moret do wrong? We're putting somebody to death, right? So what does this rebellious child, what is the actual sin that they've done? You bring the person to court and you say, we're going to try this individual for the following transgressions. So what are they? And why do they warrant the death penalty? So the Ramban points to kind of one approach in his commentary, which is, in fact, that we are putting somebody to death. It's really a unique case. Putting somebody to death, even though they actually haven't really committed a transgression yet. We mentioned this last night in the Gemara that says that really suggests that a rebellious child is judged not on their current actions, but on what they may do in the future. So the Ramban says the following. The Ramban says, Lo humat begodel chato. We're not putting somebody to death because they've actually committed a capital crime. Ela liyaser bo et harabim. This is a preventative punishment. And actually, in a lot of ways, it has nothing to do with the child. It's not like the child has done something that warrants the death penalty. Rather, why are we doing it? To actually prevent others. This is a preventative. Now, you might say, how is that fair? How could you do such a thing? And the Ramban actually points to it. He says, there's actually a lot of other similar things. If you think about another law that comes up in our parsha, which is the law of false witnesses. If you think about, we put to death false witnesses, not because they killed somebody. In fact, they did it. Right? We stopped them. We uncovered this situation before putting somebody to death, before their victim was put to death, but instead we put them to death. And again, says the Ramban, this is actually really just an attempt to kind of create public policy that's going to prevent this from happening, prevent others from doing it. Almost kind of a cautionary tale. So it's a very interesting approach in the Ramban, really arguing that there is no capital crime here, but rather this whole law is designed to be a public, and by the way, the Psukim say this themselves, right? Kol Yisrael Yishmu v'yiro. The entire congregation will see this. They will hear about it, and in doing so, maybe it will prevent others. So that's one approach to this, and the other opposite approach is all of these attempts among the commentaries to try to pin a particular transgression upon the Ben Sorero Moret. That this rebellious child is not just, he's not listening and he's just a menace to society, but actually that there are hints, perhaps, to a particular transgressions that he may have committed. And so, again, the Rishonim kind of really deal with trying to pin what exactly that transgression would have been. Is it that this person was somebody who was stealing it? Is it somebody who was violating prohibitions around forbidden foods that would have led to certain capital punishments and so on and so forth. And so, kind of the Rishonim are trying to take these two different conceptual approaches. One is there was a crime here, and we're going to try to identify the crime, and we're prosecuting the crime. And the other is a really unique approach, that there actually may not have been a capital crime here, but rather a public policy initiative to try to discourage, in a very heavy-handed way, this kind of behavior.
You've been listening to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judea Congregation in Los Angeles. To learn more about our synagogue, visit bnaidavid.com.